All right, Cub, we got three questions for you tonight. We're going to start with this one, number four. It's one with a graph, so this is a great one. It comes up a lot, and we need to make sure we learn how to do this really well. In this problem, it says, in the market depicted in the diagram above, if the government imposes a price ceiling of $1 per gallon on gasoline, which of the following will result? So the key to this problem is that we have a price ceiling, right? Price ceiling means that you cannot sell above that amount. So let's go to the $1. And let's try to make a line here at $1. And there you go. That shows you the price that you cannot sell above. And again, you put this price in, so you're going to see where it intersects the supply and the demand curve, right? And we could see that it intersects the supply curve at $1 and 6, right? Goes down to 6. And the demand curve, the consumer, at 12. So now what does this mean? This means that the consumer at $1 would love to have 12 pieces, but he can't have 12 pieces. And why? Because at $1, the supplier is only making 6. So you're going to have a shortage in this situation. We want 12, but you're only making 6. So the shortage is 12 minus 6, or 6 n billions. And if we go to our answers here, we see A is a surplus. We know that's not it. And then we see B is a shortage of 6 billion. And boy, that is exactly what we looked at, and that's correct. All right, let's go on to the next problem. Okay, so in this problem, we assume that Clark spends his entire income on the purchase of two goods, X and Y. If his income and the price of the goods, X and Y, all double, Clark will. So this is something you could probably just kind of reason through your head without doing anything too rigorous. But if his income doubles and the thing that he spends it on, he spends all of it on two things, and those things double, really not much happens. So you expect things to pretty much stay the same. But if we wanted to do it a little bit more rigorously, we could say that income, hang on. All right, well, we're having a technical problem. Oop, here we go. Well, there it goes. Okay, so income is equal to the quantity of X that he buys times the price of X plus the quantity of Y that he buys times the price of Y. And in the problem, we know that things double. So his income goes from I to 2I, and the quantity is, we're not sure what happens to the quantity, but the price goes to twice the price of X. And the quantity, again, we don't know what happens, but the price goes to 2PY. And just from typical algebra, you'll see that the 2 cancels out, and you could rewrite that equation, right, as just QX times PX plus QY PY, and that is exactly the same as that, which means that his quantities don't change. So if we go to our solutions, the only one on this is that E says buy the same amount of goods of X and Y, and indeed, that is going to be the answer. All right. So, 2 down. Let's go to the third one and the last one for tonight. Okay. Suppose that a firm begins to hire workers for a newly completed plant with a fixed amount of machinery. As the firm hires additional workers, one would expect the marginal product. So in this question, the key is this term called marginal product. Okay, marginal product. And what does that mean? So that's it's a ratio. It's a rate of change. It's the rate of change of the product produced. Oh. Okay, product produced divided by the amount of labor used to make that product. All right, and if we was taking a look at that and we wanted to graph what we think this thing should look like, we would come to here and we'd graph the amount of product produced, and then we have the amount of labor used, right? And what would we expect? We'd expect that when you're first bringing people in a brand new factory that has a lot of equipment in it, they'd be productive, right? So one person could only work one machine. There might be hundreds of machines. So we'd expect to have some income or some product increasing. And if more people on, you'd expect to go up and up even more. But at some point, you'd find out that all these good skilled workers you got start to fill up the machinery. They get in each other's way. There's more training that has to go on, and we see that the amount of project starts to level off. And then as you bring in more people after the point where all the machinery is being used, and also those people are not necessarily the best people you have anymore because you've got all the people who you wanted to hire first, right? Now you're getting to people who aren't as good as the first people you've taken. All of a sudden the production starts to fall off, right? Having too many people. So the marginal product. And marginal, again, is a ratio, right? It's the change in Y over the change in X, right? And we can see that it changes, the slope changes all across the curve. All right, so now that we talked about marginal product, let's go ahead and see what we could do here with the answers. So A is to fall initially. Well, it certainly isn't going to fall initially. Rise initially, but eventually fall. Well, that is pretty much exactly what we theorized, so let's put a circle on that. And let's just check the other answers just to be certain. Rise consistently due to diminishing returns. Well, we know it's not going to rise consistently. And the idea of diminishing returns means the more you invest in it, the less you make, right? So something that diminishing returns might look something like this, just to have it. Let's take another color. And diminishing returns means you keep getting less, right? So that's pretty good, but you know, at some point, a business would just stop using more labor. So in here, there's definitely diminishing returns, right? But the idea that it's falling is an important point that diminishing return doesn't just tell you. And it's also not consistent, right? Diminishing return doesn't mean it's consistent. Something that's consistent would be something that looked like this. Let's see. Right, a straight line is consistent diminishing returns. And you see diminishing return gives you a curved line, so we're certainly not going to be that one. And then rise consistently due to the advantage of specialization. Well, yeah, I mean, things would rise with specialization, but there's no way in the problem to think that specialization was given in the problem, so we can't use that. And rise consistently due to economies of scale. Again, that's not something that's anticipated in the problem. In fact, they actually go out of the way to tell you that it's fixed, right? So if it's fixed, we know it's not going to be economies of scale. All right, so number 6 is B, and that's all we got. That's the economics lesson for today. Bye.